Venice is made up of 118 densely packed islands. It's crisscrossed by 177 waterways. How did the engineers build a modern city on this geology? The soil of the original Venice was so soft that it was difficult to bear the weight of an adult, let alone live on it. To solve this problem, large amounts of wood were cut from the nearby forests. The stakes were then planted into the soft ground. By doing this, the soft ground became much more solid. After that, the tops of the piles were flattened and lay a layer of planks on top. The load on the foundation is spread out, and several layers of stones were laid on top of the planks. When the top of the pile was above the level, the stone laying would stop. The piles underneath would be completely submerged and cut off from the outside air. Without oxygen, it's hard for microorganisms to survive in these conditions, so these stakes lasted a long time. Most of them are still standing today. Once the foundations were laid, the next step was to build the walls. In the beginning, people used wood to build houses, but if there was a fire, they'd have to start all over again. So they switched to bricks. In addition, in order to reduce the pressure on the foundations, the height of all houses was strictly forbidden to be less than 3 stories. And to reduce weight even further, the craftsmen replaced cement with lime mortar. This material is more flexible. In the event of an earthquake, the walls would absorb the shock by swaying slightly with the movement of the ground. When the exterior walls were completed, the craftsmen also fixed several iron anchors at the junctions of the floors. The purpose of this was to strengthen the building. Once this method was proven, the Venetians began to spread it on a large scale. Soon the surrounding islands were densely populated with houses, and people's lives began to improve. But as time went on, people realized that communication between the islands was a major problem. At first, they used small boats as transportation. As the buildings became denser, in some places they could even wade through the water with just a horse. But these methods were still a bit inefficient, so people began to think about connecting the islands artificially. By what? It was simple: bridges. At first, the Venetians tried pontoons, but as commerce grew closer, they couldn't handle the heavy cargo. So the craftsmen turned them into arch bridges. Like houses before them, before building a bridge, a lot of wooden piles were placed on both sides of the river. And then the main part of the bridge was built out of stone. This arch bridge is still standing today. After that, stone arch bridges were built over all the waterways of Venice. As the economy grew, Venice's